live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Miq Strawn.
This one's easy. A half vampire, half mortal man becomes a protector of mortal race while slaying evil vampires.
That's a very simple plot.
Yeah, just going straight into that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
And they used the carbonite they used in Star Wars with Han Solo.
I have to confess that I've never seen this film. I had a horrible time on this film. This film was a nightmare for everybody involved in it. And I am not kidding here. I am telling you, this director was a dick.
I think you told me that before.
He was a dick.
So the weird thing is, I saw this when I lived in Tennessee.
Yeah?
And I liked it a lot. Because it was kind of early on in this superhero game, you know.
Yeah, it was pretty early. Yeah,
and I liked this one because it was kind of dark.
Yeah.
Kind of like Batman.
Yeah.
And then he reminded me a lot of like Terminator, kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he was a lot cooler than Arnold Schwarzenegger and more believable. And he didn't do a lot of one-liners. I appreciated that. And then I noticed this time I watched it, it held up for me. I still like it.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I guess okay, then we're done.
Well, there you go.
There's no mystery how I felt about it. No, actually, I really enjoyed it still. I mean, I thought it was awesome. I still liked it. I liked the action. I liked the production design was really pretty. Everything was pretty about the production design.
Yes,
yeah, I mean, there were some cliche
like
lines and stuff in it, and the girl that was in there was his love interest, kind of.
Occasionally, either Chris Christopherson or Wesley Snipes would say a line and it would just fall.
Yeah, there were some points
really flat.
like,
but I have to say that overall, I was really impressed with it.
And then at first, when Steven Dorff, I'm like, oh yeah, he was the bad guy. I'm like, oh, is that going to be okay?
I can see.
And then he ended up pulling it off.
Okay, yeah, he did.
He was the annoying, like young, cocky guy.
Yeah,
he pulled it off really well.
He did.
Which I think that's kind of how he was, right? At that time.
Yeah, he was. I was going to say it's not like that wasn't his character, because that was, and Wesley Snipes played kind of a prick, and Wesley Snipes is kind of a prick. So there
and the
you
weird
go.
thing, I saw other movies in this a lot. It was like stuff that reminded me of like the ashy skeletons. It kind of reminded me of the Avengers a little bit.
It was,
and then the skeleton part reminded me a lot of like Mortal Kombat.
yeah,
which it was really all digital, which is weird.
Well, there was an interesting thing though about the skeleton stuff. There was. Do you notice that effect with the rim of the fire, the yellow?
Like spreading.
Yeah. The way that we did that, we actually did. What we did is we took a bunch of bodies, and we made them out of tinfoil and what was it? Real fine steel wool, and packed it real thin and spread it over the steel wool, and then ignited it with a whole bunch of electric matches. We'd ignite it all at once with a fan blowing on it, and it would do this, and that became a template that we used for the way all the bodies came apart.
Yeah,
and the way that the way that it spreads, so the way that spreads is it spreads like a virus that hits you in several places and just eats you like that. But we followed that yellow edge,
kind of like Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's like Taco Bell food. Yeah, exactly. But we followed that yellow edge, and we used that edge of the fire in several of the effects on this. And yeah, it was some of the bodies coming apart and stuff were cool.
Yeah.
There was...
I mean, if you look at it nowadays, like, that was kind of, again, that was early on in those kind of special effects. So they would have been a lot cooler if they did it now.
One thing I wanted to say is I didn't know that the flying monkeys were still working.
Yes.
but it was really good to see them.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, they're not looking very healthy.
They look very aged.
Yeah, they're not looking very healthy at all. But it's just good to see that.
I liked a little glimpse of the chest of souls too. Like at the end, there was like a little glimpse that reminded me of Freddy Krueger with the
Freddy
chest.
Krueger's
But it was only
yeah.
for like 2 seconds. And then
Well, one of the problems actually, the biggest problem I have with this film was just watching it in the first place, because it just reminded me of being here and the evil of it. And even my wife, as I came around the corner from watching this, my wife was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Oh no, I was just watching Blade."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Yeah, she says, that's your Waterloo." And I go, "Yeah, there is no doubt."
I didn't know it was that deep. I just think you didn't like the director.
It was pretty bad.
I knew you had issues on the set.
Yeah.
I really liked. So I loved all the blood, and I really liked the scene where the 2 heads were blowing up, and then they popped. And there was blood everywhere, like flying everywhere. And there's like pieces of face and everything. That was kind of probably one of my favorite parts for sure.
Yeah, I thought that.
And then the sword thing where it expanded and blew up the guy's hand. It just looked pretty cool. I mean, I was reminding my 20-year-old self. I remember liking that. That was cool.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah. So.
I have to admit the end of it was so slow. I don't mean
it did kind of slow down.
I don't know if it was. I have to tell you this: is when we filmed it, right? We didn't have an ending. I mean, the ending was kind of like that blood circle and stuff like that, and we were draining him and stuff.
It was kind of drawn out.
It wasn't figured out, right? And I quit the film before the very end.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people walked off that film.
Yeah.
I just couldn't take it anymore.
That kind of explains it then. If it kind of, it definitely changed at the end there. Like
it just didn't have any. It didn't have.
There was kind of a cool, like almost kind of sex scene in there. It was interesting how they worked that in there.
Yeah. That was
it was
disturbing.
kind of bizarre.
Disturbing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's funny. It's funny how sometimes an intrinsic scriptural problem comes down and you don't recognize what it is about it that doesn't work. And I tell you what it was, is we were following blood coming out of somebody, right? And it slowed everything down. It's like everything was going, 900 miles an hour, and all of a sudden we've got this huge set that's just for Blade to take his blood out, right, in a ceremonial way.
But didn't it kind of fit with the feeling because he had just like killed his mom? It was kind of a downer.
Here's the thing that I'm explaining.
He was probably gonna die.
See, you didn't catch it either.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, but you didn't catch it either.
No,
the fact is, the problem is that you have something slow that's happening at the end. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like you have a big explosion. You're waiting for this drip of blood to go all the way down this building.
It could have been edited a lot faster than it.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is just by the nature of that, it just seemed like a huge.
To me, it felt like they were trying to build up tension, but it wasn't really working.
It wasn't working. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is the end of the film to me was, it kind of just petered out. It didn't really make. It
didn't ruin it for me though, personally. I mean,
well, it did for me. But some things I really liked and that I was there to work on was the fat guy. The really big fat guy. It's the big guy, the big fat guy.
Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Him smoking. We had just like maybe 40 tubes that came all together, and we were blowing smoke through the tubes to make him smoke and stuff like that. And there were some things that I thought were, because the director was so much into CGI, and it was the very beginning of CGI, and the train, and they did all the train stuff with CGI. Now we built the tunnels, right, and the tunnels look great, but the CGI of the train going by, that did not work. That was terrible.
And then when they cut Steven Dorff in half and he went.
Yeah, it just didn't.
The blood looked really bad.
Yeah, and
one complaint I do have about this is that it's Blade.
Yeah.
Yet he uses guns like too many times. Like
Oh yeah,
I wanted to see more of the martial arts moves, so I was happy with the scenes where he was doing that stuff.
There you go.
Just all the gunfight, I'm like, it's just a gunfight.
Did Chris Christopherson show up in Blade 2?
I want to know why Chris Christopherson had a blue, like, you know, the fire that comes out of the end of the gun?
Right.
Why was his blue? I was like, is this all these Star Wars references or what?
Yeah, man, I don't know.
We're, you know, I don't know.
For me, it was
Jabba the Hutt.
For me,
Solo.
it was amazing for me to meet him.
Yeah.
Because I listened to his albums.
Yeah.
And you know, I said,
did you like his music?
I love his music.
So I was talking to my dad on vacation.
I don't so much love him doing his music. Although Sunday Morning Coming Down he sings it really well, but he doesn't do Bobby McGee very well. But everybody does Bobby McGee really well.
Right.
But the thing is how many of his songs other people have done, and they just killed it with them. You know. Yeah.
Well, I
amazing.
I was talking to my dad, and I was like, I don't know how that came up, how his name came up, but I said, actually, Chris, I like his music, and I think he's a decent actor. And my dad's response was, I don't think he could do either one. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we disagree a little bit, but I always liked him. Is fake fire ever necessary? That's one of the questions I have for you. Why? Because I don't know. Like, there's a scene where there's fire behind. It could have been real. It was like right above him. It was just all digital.
Yeah. Well,
it was probably in the train.
The fire in the train tunnel. Yeah, it was. It was in the train tunnel. Yeah, the fire in the train tunnel. Most of the train tunnel stuff was not at all convincing, other than the set itself kind of like sold it, but it didn't. It really didn't have much of a feel to it, did it?
No. Yeah. But then at the time when I watched it in the theater, I think obviously I bought it more that because it hadn't gotten that to the point now.
But you know what? I loved. We did do a great explosion with the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now here's the
all cool the way around, thing about that. All the way
around. Yeah, and you know what? What I did was the way that we did this. We built that rim all the way around with a holder for the door, right? And then we just took and literally poured plaster in place all the way around. But there was hard plaster first that I made, and I lined air cannons up all the way around it. And then we put pyrolite in front, packed that in front of it, and replastered over that, and then blew all that out, and it blows out, and the door just goes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was really cool. It was really cool. It was a lot of work.
And the best part is waiting for the door to fall. You're like,
oh yeah. It was awesome. And the thing is, we blew it around the door. That was the fun stuff. But also, I loved the glass hanging down. Now, we blew those pieces of glass were also the tempered glass that I was talking about before. We were blowing those as they would get close to them. You know, when they were, stem would be, and we'd blow them. And I remember at the time thinking, wow, this is a really cool looking set. And it was
that was actually a good scene when they were fighting. I like that scene with the glass really exploding everywhere.
Oh, yeah. What else? I like the shower scene, of course.
Yeah.
The shower scene, it surprised me.
That was insane.
How good the blood looked, because we were experimenting.
Well, you told me that story before. And I was.
Yeah, but I've never seen the footage of it.
Yeah.
And I knew that we went with the thickest blood we possibly could.
See, I think this movie started out awesome.
Right.
It was great, and then kind of at the end was like,
and then petered out. But you know, funny thing is that's the way the script went. That's exactly the way the script went.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm going to end with this story.
Well, I do have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Were you involved with the guy that melted? So that was one of my. It was a really stupid
guy that
death.
Melted on the beach.
He melted, and then he burst into flames, and then he exploded. Which I
didn't understand. I did not understand that. Now,
I know
that's not the way that was storyboarded. I had storyboards for the longest time, and he was the one that we were going to use that yellow rim for, right? And we made versions of him and burned them that way.
Yeah.
Right? But then they wound up doing it, blistering his face out all the way, and then blistering it, and then bursting him, and then just caught him on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like a dummy on fire, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Yeah, and then
I like it when he was smoking, and then
right.
It was gradually happening.
Right, but then he just burst into fire.
And then his head exploded off.
And I admit that I was a little puzzled because it didn't. It's all about following the rules.
Yeah.
The rules of the thing, and that didn't make any sense. The rules were broken, and yeah, but
you and your rules.
Yeah, I know. But now,
so don't you think Wesley Snipes is a better actor than Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, even though, there's no doubt.
Even though, I mean, Kindergarten Cop was like an Academy Award level movie.
It's not a tumor.
Yeah, okay. No, you're right. He was.
No, he's not the best at delivering lines, but being a badass he's good at.
Yeah.
And I think he probably spent a lot of time learning those moves and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Except for he's just not a nice human
being. But my favorite character was a
so.
68 Dodge Charger.
Yeah, it did really good.
And I noticed something. Actually, I was reading on IMDb. And I didn't even notice this until I saw it on there.
Yeah,
that the logos for New Line Cinema were in red. I was like, and that's kind of unique.
for the blood. Yeah,
it's weird.
Right. Did you notice that the shop where the Charger pulls in, and it's pulling in, and it's going past these enormous presses, right? These enormous hydraulic presses.
Yeah.
And if you look at those presses. Yeah,
which they should have shot that differently because I had an issue with the way they kept cutting to different cameras.
Well,
I feel like it should have been almost like one whole shot coming in.
Yeah, because unfortunately though is that place is
small.
One straight no, it's enormous.
Okay,
it's
I think it would have been cool to have see a car in the distance and have it just coming down, and then maybe show some shots from the side of the
But here's the problem: is the place is enormous. It is literally like 8 blocks long, right? So that when you did a shot like that, everything got lost, right? And it's completely the different. It's the car looked like a speck on the wide shot, right?
Yeah.
And they had to deal with trying to make it look more imposing in this enormous place. Mm-hmm. But as it's going along, it's going past these presses, and here's the thing: is most of the large munitions during World War II were made in that factory. And what they would take is they would take an enormous brass ingot, right? And they put it in one of those presses, and they would have a steel mold for a shell, right? And then they stamp it down with those enormous. I mean, each one of those things is like 60 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
And it would just boom. Hammer that down, and then they'd pull it back, and they'd pull out the case, and they'd do another one. And that's all there is for 9 blocks is those boom, boom presses like that. So the thing is it's 9 miles long, or it's 9 blocks long, and it's all built on a lake of oil. It's all built on top of a huge lake of hydraulic oil that all the presses that are in there, they suck up and they pump that oil up and stuff. And the thing is they don't want to clean it up.
Huh.
So they still make like 3 or 4 shells a year.
Really?
And then they rent out to movies for the rest of the time so that they can still maintain their business license. And
that's crazy.
Because they have like 9 blocks of like literally you climb down there.
Yeah.
And it's like the world's largest swimming pool of oil. You cannot see that end of it, and you can't see that end of it, and it's probably about 40 feet deep.
Wow.
And you can climb down there, and there's about 12 feet between the top of the oil, the lake of oil, and everything, including the car coming down, is on these steel sheets and these trusses that go over that, and you can climb down in there. And I've done it before. I've climbed down in there, and it's creepy because that if you let go of that ladder,
I was wondering
you're going to be in pure oil.
I was wondering how many production assistants have been lost in that place.
We haven't lost one, I swear.
You either get crushed by the,
yeah,
or you get drowned,
or washed in the lake. Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I've shot in that thing so many times. I think I cannot tell you how many. We did chairman of the board there. I did one of the nightmare scenes there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all kinds. Been there many times, and it's a weird place. You know, they rent it very cheap so that they can keep people coming in and out, so that they don't have to do anything to the property. Yeah, exactly that. Right. Mm-hmm.
So this was like, it was $45 million according to that. I don't know if that's right or not, but does that sound like it seems like a small budget to me. I don't know why. I guess at the time it probably was pretty big.
Yeah, you know, it was big for a non-union. It was a non. Well, it was a film that a lot of people got grandfathered in on. And it started out non-union, so that's probably a lot.
That's part of the problems.
That's part of. Yeah. Well, plus, you know, yeah. No, that's it.
I can tell you had like a really good story there, but you're
there's a lot of stories that I don't want to tell about that film. You know, because
there was the story of the shower scene you told one time. Yeah, that was kind of disturbing.
Yeah, the shower scene. Yeah. But
so we're just making people go back and listen to old episodes.
That's right. Did I? Well, yeah. How about the story about the? Right on, brother. You haven't heard that story?
I don't remember.
Okay.
You probably did.
I'll end with this. No. I don't think I have. I think you'll love this. So, Wesley Snipes used to walk onto set with his entourage, right? And his entourage would follow him, and there was a lot of racial tension that kind of ran through the film.
Well, there was some racial tension in the script.
Yeah, well,
Stephen Dorff delivered some lines. I was like, what? Anyway.
Yeah, well, you should have been on the set. So, anyway, so he would come on to set, and he'd come on with his entourage. And his entourage, there was a tradition that they did. You know, he would walk in, and his people would walk behind him, and he would give the Black Power salute.
Right.
And his whole group would did the Black Power salute.
It's like a bad Michael Jackson video. Sounds like.
Exactly. And sometimes he would say things, but sometimes he wouldn't. But everybody would ignore him. Now, here's the thing.
What do you mean? His entourage would ignore him, or everybody else?
No. His entourage, they would all do that. You know,
right?
Everybody else,
everybody on the set ignored him.
On the set would ignore him, and it made the tension like strong through. You know, the thing is this was a film that you just learned to hate yourself and everybody else in the world on. I mean, you really did. It was like you would see somebody get chewed out. You know. Like daily, a couple of people would just get the shit chewed out of them by the director or by any, and we turned on each other all the time. You know, it was unbelievable. But the thing is you'd see somebody getting chewed out, and the only thing you could think of really was like, oh my God, that wasn't me. and you just sigh in relief, and after a while you're going, wow, I shouldn't be like this, but everybody was. Oh, it was so bad. But so one day we were setting up all the effects for that jump from you know, when he throws the girl onto that other rooftop.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
He throws the girl and then he jumps after her, right?
And he lands on this mysterious plastic that's just like perfectly placed. And,
yeah. Exactly. That we call, you know what we call those in the biz, airbags. Right. So the thing is as you noticed with that particular building, there were buildings on either side of it that were taller, mm-hmm. right? And one was really tall, and this one was up about maybe, I think it was 2 stories, maybe 3 stories tall. And the thing is it didn't really have an access. That's a fake access that we put up there, the door that she jumps in, because it actually was part of the building next door, right? So what you had to do is you had to go up to the rooftop of the building next door. Then you had to go down the staircase, and you can see the staircase there. There's a staircase that leads down onto the other roof. And so we're cleaning up at the end of the day, and we got the effects ready for the night, and I was, you know, cleaning up with the day crew, about ready to stay on with the night crew, but I was like kind of like getting the day crew off the set, right? And I was working mechanical effects on that film. I was working as the one of the leads, and so I got everybody up, and we're standing up, and we're looking down, and we happen to see Snipes and his group was standing over here in the corner down there, right? They're standing in the corner, and they're about ready to make their move onto the set. So
I'm just picturing this now.
Okay,
like pigeons.
So they, yeah, like pigeons. So they kind of do their walk into the, that walk as the group onto the set, and they raise their hands in the Black Power salute. And everybody's ignoring them like they always do, except for this one brand new PA, right? And he comes, and we're looking. You have to understand this. We are looking down on this, and we're just observing, right? Because there was just something super entertaining about seeing them do the Black Power salute. Because I hadn't seen anybody do that since like the late 60s,
like 68, probably,
or something like 68, right? And so. And they do the Snipes does the Black Power salute, and this little kid, Jewish, short hair, really short, kid comes super young, comes running across the set, gets right up in front of Wesley Snipes, and he raises his fist and goes, "Right on, brother!" And I am telling you, to be looking down and to see all these people trying to find something to look at, trying not to laugh, trying to I swear to God, it was the funniest thing in the world. So we started cracking up, right?
I would have been fired that day, and I would have started laughing.
Oh, we did. We said, yeah.
But you were on the roof.
I was on the other roof.
Relatively safe, right?
Yeah, I was comparatively safe because we were on the way out anyway. It's like so we laughed and laughed and laughed and got in our cars and left. But the great thing is there's a guy named Gary Washington. And Gary Washington I met at a con up Bleedingham.
Oh, okay.
It's a film festival. And you're a really, really nice guy. And I told the story up at Bleedingham. And ever since then, I've seen him several times for one reason or another. He's one of those guys that I kept going into Seattle and seeing him, and I saw him at Crypticon, and he comes around the corner and he goes, "Right on, brother!"
Oh, wow.
He's a 6 foot tall black guy. Well, right on, brother. So kind of an in joke there,
Yeah.
So now it's not just an in joke. It's out there. Yeah, it's out there. So here's what I have to say about this film.
It'd be better if you ran to the PA sometime.
Yeah. Anyway, this is what I have to say about this film. You don't want to say something
about your friend, Steve
Norrington?
Yeah. What He's only directed 4 movies, looks like.
Yeah. And he got chewed out by wow, he went back to special effects? God, he's such an idiot. He's such an idiot. I have to tell you something. Steve Norrington is, there are very few people that if I saw him on the side of the freeway, I'd put him out of his misery in a heartbeat.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. Feel so bad about that.
Let's hope this is people know this is comedy, right? And you're
hi. Yeah, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. On League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the lead of that was Sean O'Connery. And Sean Connery, they had a rap party where Sean Connery got up and just made a speech where
you told me that one.
Absolutely ragged this guy.
Oh, you told the story before.
Yeah,
I do remember this.
And he.
And that's amazing that Sean Connery did that.
And I had a friend. I had a friend that was at that got me on the phone so that I could hear him do it, and it was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was amazing because this guy is the worst piece of British trash I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
But anyway.
So how do you feel about him?
Blade overall, like I say, I haven't seen it before. We
didn't talk about one thing that's really important because you put it on your Facebook page.
What?
how much blood did you use?
Oh!
The use of blood in this movie.
2,500 to 3,000 gallons just in that.
And what percentage of that was used in the shower scene at the beginning with the dance floor?
Well, I'm just talking about the shower scene. That's how much was used.
But there was a lot of blood in other scenes. I mean,
well, there was a lot of blood in other scenes, but I can't.
Blood cannons, probably.
Yeah, probably, but I can't count for the rest of it because makeup effects was doing that. That was a mechanical effects gag.
Yeah,
and we pumped it from an enormous tank, and there's like all kinds of stories behind all that I don't want to go into. Maybe someday we'll talk about blood in general, and I'll go into all the stories that just deal with that shower scene, because that was a nightmare of gigantic proportions.
I think you told me one story about an extra.
Yeah.
That's a teaser for future.
For future. We'll do another thing, and I'll go into just that shower scene for Blade. But we definitely.
It sounds like it could be a whole episode, that one scene.
And you know what I have to say though is I got ragged. You know, they say that on Evil Dead, the remake of Evil Dead, they did the shower scene, or they did it was raining blood. But I have to say, their blood did not look anything like my blood did. Our blood was freaking amazing. It was thick. It was horrifying. And we had 3,000 gallons.
And it was really pretty on camera.
Yeah. I mean, my stuff was right there, boy. Yeah. I mean, that I kind of looked at I looked at that scene from the remake of Evil Dead, and I looked at mine. Now I've looked at mine again, and I have to say ours is so much better and so much more horrifying. So much more horrifying.
And more blood.
Yeah. Yeah, by all means.
Raining Blood.
Blood, yeah.
One of my favorite Slayer songs.
I think that we're coming to the part...
Yes, where we rate it. Yeah. I
want to say that I didn't like the end. I thought the end just got really dragged out. And for half the film, I would have given a 4 to the first half of the film. But the last... they had the same problem as they had in the script when I left, and I don't think that they ever fixed any of it. It's terrible. The end of it is, it just goes on and on and on and on, and it's boring, and it doesn't really make much sense, and it seemed like there was a lot of waiting for just a drop of blood to drip, and so I'm gonna have to give it a 3.2.
Wow. So that came into this wanting to give it a 4.2 or so, somewhere up there. But then you kind of maybe think about the last scene a little bit more. And now I'm depressed to say that I'm probably going to drop it down to a 3.8. But I still want to almost give it a 4 because I really like this. I still like it. It's one of the better early Marvel movies.
It is one of the better early Marvels.
Yeah,
so there's no doubt about that.
It's a good comic book movie. And this is how they should make comic book movies, I think.
Yeah. I want to say that I think that, and it has a great look to it. I have a kind of a thing that, a lot of the comic book films that we have is we move so far away from them looking like comic, getting a comic book look to them, that the looks just don't seem to make sense to it. This one kind of seems to, in a way. It's got a certain simplicity of tone overall.
To me, it had a Batman feel, like the first Batman.
Right, yeah, exactly, like the first Batman.
And I'm kind of looking forward to Brightburn, but I kind of have a feeling it's kind of in that same... But I don't know, it's like Venom. I was kind of looking forward to Venom and Brightburn, and they both look a little too bright or too... I don't know what I'm trying to say. But you know what I mean? If Brightburn's a dark movie and the sets are dark, I'll probably enjoy it more. That's my point.
Okay.
I like depressing, dark stuff, I guess.
So... I only have one thing left to say. How are you? Are you about done?
Yes, I am. I don't know if I have any more questions.
I have one more thing. I just had one more thing to say. Right on, brother.
We got to get that guy on the show. The Jewish guy.
I'd never find him. Right on, brother.
Thanks for joining us on the Dream Warrior Review podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about us, follow us, and, of course, like us. We can be found on Podbean, which is an amazing app, YouTube, Stitcher, Alexa on any pod, iTunes, Google Play. We're on Twitter as well at DW Review, and of course Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com.